Welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. We are your co-hosts. I'm Brian.
And I'm Robin Joy.
And this is Coach's Corner.
Hi, everybody.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going great.
Good.
Hey, Brian, you were telling me, what's the thing that you've noticed lately about the approach of people who, they get their foundation built, they're ready now to start working on those profits that they really couldn't work on before, and you do that kind of number session with them. What have you noticed is about the approach that people think they should go for?
Well, sounds like a loaded question.
It is.
You know, it's an interesting one because I think a lot of times when we say, they have their foundation built, not really. It's not really built yet, right? They're still working on that. I mean, what they have sometimes, quite honestly, is a little shaky.
Okay.
And the shakiness comes from the focus, I think, on quantity over quality.
Okay.
When they're building their business.
Let me interrupt there. So in the beginning, we tell them, don't worry about the profits. Get some stability built, get some foundation there so that, and get some choices. Frankly, the more you sell, the more choices you're going to have about what you're able to sell.
That's right.
So during that, you build that foundation, and then you come to a point where you say, okay, I've done all this, but I need to start making some money now.
That we hear that a lot. Like, okay, this is not where I thought I was going to end up.
Right.
Or this is not where I thought I would be. Right. At this point.
It's just the beginning, really.
So let's sort of take stock and evaluate and see what's going on.
Okay.
And there's kind of 4 points we're going to talk through today about this.
Okay.
But the first one is what I like to call the addiction to sales versus the reality of the profits. Right? Because when we are starting this business, we want to go fast. I need to get sales. I want to do this now.
Sure, absolutely.
I want to get this done. Right? And here's the reality. The reality is if you're going to do this, anything meaningful, you're going to be doing it for a long period of time. Okay? And whether it's this platform or other platforms or what the skills that you learn here and apply to other ventures going forward, this is not
still apply.
Yeah, and this is not a, we say this a lot, but this is not get rich quick. And this is not I'm going to be in and out of this in 6 months. I think, honestly, about 6 months in, you're just starting to get your footing and figure out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's really,
it takes that long to kind of get that risk spread out where you can kind of figure out now where to improve it, right?
But in those early days, because we are trying to get sales faster so that we can get approvals for more, so that we can find better things to sell, we get addicted to the sales. Yeah. Right? The refreshing of the screen, the gold bars.
Well, it's exciting when you start getting sales. I mean, for somebody who gets their first sale, absolutely celebrate. We do. We'll celebrate with you. Absolutely. Then you start getting more and more sales, and that is something to celebrate.
And it is. You want this sort of infinity pool effect to continue happening with your Amazon app, right? Even though they're forcing me to log in every day now,
I know.
which is a little painful. But other than that, you want to log in. What did I sell? What did I sell? What did I sell? How often are we checking? Like we're 6 plus years into this.
Sure, maybe a couple times, 2 or 3 times a day, and we report to each other if we see something
interesting,
exciting,
or surprising, or disappointing.
Or exciting.
I'm still probably checking 4 to 6 times a day.
Sure.
Not as frequently as I used to, right? In the early days,
Not really for the same things as we used to.
True. Like maybe a whole different reason in checking it. But those dopamine hits are really what we're after. To me, it's sort of like the junk food. Yes, that bag of Doritos sounds good, and I really enjoy it while I'm eating it. But what is it really getting me, right? What are these sales really getting me? And
Is that way they call it empty calories?
Empty calories, exactly right. It's like the candy, right? It gets you like this immediate gratification, but then when you go and get on the scale at the end of the month, it's not gratification in any way, right? If that's kind of what you're focusing on. And that's what I want to talk about here, right? The temptation that we run into, as we are starting to build up and we get addicted to those gold bars is to get the sales. And how do we get the sales? Lower the price. Right?
Yes.
This is what leaves you starving at the end of the month.
Right.
You're like, I want the sales, but then...
And I want more, and I want more.
And I want more and more and more sales. And so I'm going to be much more aggressive on my pricing. But then we get to the end of the month and we measure profit and we go, that's not what I was hoping for, right?
And that's what everybody else is doing.
It is what everybody else is doing because that's the herd. That's the direction that the herd is going. And we always we always say it, but you hear people say it all the time. Like, if you want to, don't follow the herd, go a completely different direction. And I think there's a longer talking point, a little bit deeper into this episode around how we can actually do that. So, discipline, though, right? We talk about when we're evaluating an ASIN and when we're going to sell it and when we're going to put it through its paces or the testing process, we have a very prescriptive way to approach that for a good reason.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you send it in and the minute it becomes available, you're just dropping your price to the buy box or trying to be as competitive as you can, then what happens is you get a lot of these empty calories. You get the sales.
And that 4-week test lasts about 30 seconds and you get about 30 seconds of information.
You get the calories without the nutrition.
Right.
And the nutrition is your profit, right? So it seems like all things are equal. If I can sell 5 units at 40% profit or 10 units at 20% profit, it's the same, right?
Yeah, sure. It seems like it would be.
It seems like it would be the same, but I want to present an argument to you on this to try and change your mind, okay? They both give you around $200, assuming we had whatever the price point is, they're going to give you the same amount of profit.
Yeah.
But with the 40% product, you only need to do half as much work as the 20% profit, right? You're selling twice, you're taking up 10 spots or 10 units. To do that at 20%, it's the same. But you're actually eating away at your capacity to do more of the 40%.
Right. So you're spending all your time on those ones that are not giving you a whole lot back and compromising the ones that are so that you can get that hit.
As I have these conversations and as I was kind of framing up the content here for this episode, I already knew what your response to me on this was going to be. And what is it?
This is how you handle when I can't get enough stock. Price accordingly. That's what you say. Price accordingly. If I can only get 6 because there are only 6 on the shelf every week, then I'm going to price accordingly. I want to sell 6 this month, not 25 this month. So I'm going to price where I can sell 6 for the month or the week or whatever time period I'm stocking for.
But what happens if I have...
Oh, did I not catch your hook?
Yeah. So, but what happens if you have, 4 of these 40% profit units that are doing 5 each, and then you have money left at the end of the week for your spend goal? You would say, if you don't have anything better.
If you don't have anything better. Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I do say that a lot.
Yeah.
So you can't find, the ASINs that are perfect tests but you need to send something in.
Yeah.
And you've got viable ASINs with a good branding and a good source. Send the best that you've got. Keep that. The consistency is way more important than what you get back from it. And that's where you get the little surprises. Oh, I didn't realize that one it didn't look like it up front.
That's true.
You get those little surprises often.
Especially if you're following your prescription or your protocol, right? There will be things that jump out at you. You're like, well, it only looks like it's going to do 20, but you put it through its paces. Oh, look I was able to get 38 on that or, whatever it might be. So I will just say it's okay, right? If you haven't hit your spend goal and you got some 20s and that, you can't fill up with 40s, go for it. Absolutely do that. Just don't be afraid to take them out when the 40 percenters come along. And this is the hardest part because of the dopamine hit, right?
Right. Don't get addicted to those ones that aren't giving you a whole lot. Get those replaced with ones that will. It's great to have a little bit if you don't have a lot, but then keep working on getting a lot to replace the little bit.
So, pop quiz here.
Have
you ever regretted sacrificing profit for sales volume?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Still do often. It's easy for that to happen.
And certainly we're not saying any of this. This is all far easier said than done. Oh, right?
Right, exactly. As we've just attested to.
We still face that dilemma every month.
Every month.
Like, okay, we need to generate the cash flow. In order to generate the cash flow, that means we're going to have to take less on some items than we thought.
And that's why these things that we say are not gospel. They're not do this and this will happen.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way. We're trying to give you a mindset to think towards so that you can continually improve as opposed to not worrying about it.
I think there's also the fear of the unknown.
Yeah,
okay, well,
sure.
if I take out these ASINs that are doing 20% and I'm replacing them with new ASINs that, or, I'm testing with that theoretically are 40% or better.
Well, I wouldn't replace them until I tested the new ones.
Okay, well, so then if they are, then there's that, well, will I know I'll be able to save, to sell those, 5 or whatever my number is every month versus I know this is in the bag, right? I can do 10 of these at 20%.
But I would argue with you, Brian, that I can always go back and put those 20%ers back in there if I want to.
I agree. I totally agree with you there. So why do you think so many sellers trade the long-term profit for the short-term dopamine hits?
Well, I mean, it's a dopamine hit. Obviously, that's one of the big reasons. Another is, it's a status. We're in a community full of people who seem to be doing a lot better than us. This is how it looks to us. We know that that's only a few people that we hear from that are doing better than us, and we shouldn't compare with each other. But we want to be that guy. And the gold bars are one way to feel that way. But and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Go for those sales. It's a key performance indicator. Absolutely. But when you're working on making that profit better, work on reducing the work to get those same kind of dopamine hits.
I call it the Instagram effect.
Yeah.
What you see on Instagram is only the best, right? What you see on social media is only the best. And so then you're comparing.
Or the complainers. There's really.
Well, yeah. But you're like, you only want to show the best. And it is the ego, right? It's the status. It's the things that go along with the gold bars. Look at my $100,000 month. The quiet truth for some people is that, man, they barely eked out $2,000 in profit. So, I would much rather say I got a $15,000 a month profit month than I hit 6 figures in sales.
True. There's a serious balance there. Sometimes to get better profit, you have to get more in there and get more tested. And usually if you're having $100,000 in sales a month, you probably got some of this profit stuff worked out. So don't think that those people don't know what they're doing. It's not that at all. We just want to help you to come up with your plan.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I don't think we're talking to anyone who's doing 100K. You know what I mean?
Right. You've already got yours figured out.
Yeah. You've already got this sorted. I'm going to say, maybe even at a lower point than that, you've probably got a good handle on this.
Yeah.
But in the year's early days, when you're $10,000, $15,000, $30,000 a month, sometimes you do need to, press pause, analyze, figure out what's working, and see if you can exploit that. And that's what I wanted to talk about next.
Okay.
Right. I do this session called the profit profile, and we analyze business. We look back over a normal month. We boil everything down to an average, right?
Right. So you've got a big enough book of business that your averages mean something, and you can make a small change to make a big impact, right?
Yeah. So I know we've talked about this before, but it's so important. We're going to talk about it again.
Okay.
Right?
Let's do it.
That the what we're trying to do here is get an average for every time you make a sale, it generates this revenue, and on average, here are your expenses, and on average, here's your gross profit. And that number is the one that is usually surprising to people. They're like, oh, I thought I was making more than that.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't feel like I made that much. It's usually one or the other, right?
Yeah. That second one comes very often. And in fact, that's sometimes the reason they want to do this session with you is because, gosh, I've been doing all this work. It seems like everything's going the way I planned, but I don't have any money in my pocket. What's going on?
Well, your repricer will lie to you. Your repricer says, look at this money that you made. And your repricer doesn't have full insight into all of your expenses and cost of goods and all that kind of stuff.
And the time it takes to get that money.
You are probably just plugging in your actual cost of goods, which may not include your inbound transportation, may not include your placement fees if you're paying it.
And frankly, I think that's all you should plug in. If you start plugging in every penny, you're going to end up never testing anything.
It's tough to include it in your cost of goods. Yeah, it's really... Yeah. I think
just
you have to
remember that the reason we have a profit that's more that we're searching for on average is so that we can cover our overhead expenses. Don't tie that up. I don't like to see people going, well, I want 3 cents for my repricer and 20 cents for my pack subscription. And, in every single ASIN, that's, you're kind of defeating yourself before you get started.
So in a fairly recent podcast, I talked about one of the coaching clients I was working with doing this profit profile. And I just hinted at the fact that, he basically, I don't want to say disable his repricer, but got much less aggressive with his repricing strategies. And that it looked like he was going to have his best profit month ever. And I want to follow up with that.
Okay.
Because that turned out to be exactly the truth. Okay.
Really?
And here's I always say, like, I'll take less revenue for more profits. I get to do less work for more money. That's always a good trade, right? Yeah. And here's how it worked out for this particular person. At the end of the month, we went back and measured, and his sales were down over a third. Okay.
Wow, that's big.
So assuming like
that would be scary.
Instead of doing 30,000, now he's doing 20,000. Okay. But his profits were up 140%.
Oh, I'll take it all day long.
140%.
That's incredible.
Like, this is huge, right?
Yeah.
I mean that the second number is astounding to me. And when we dug into why that was happening, it was because he became much less aggressive on his repricer and let the things sell at the rate that was giving him his desired profit. Does that mean he was going to sell less of them? Yes. And that's why you go, fewer of them. Sorry. Yes. And that's why you go wider, right? That's why you add more ASINs instead of adding more depth.
Right. And adding depth sometimes means what you were just saying. Sometimes it means putting more in for the purpose of selling more, but at a lower cost. That's more work to get the same dollars.
Yeah. That's
right. That's.
So he ended up doing less work. The total number of units sold was down like half.
So he's happy to put 4 or 5 a month in of this one and 7 or 8 of that one.
Exactly.
Because that's how fast they sold at the profit he wanted.
Exactly. That's it.
That's what you mean by price accordingly.
Price accordingly.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I was saying earlier. If I only got 6 on the shelf and that's all I can get this month, then I'm going to price accordingly. Those 6 have got to last me all month, and I need to get the most out of them that I can. I don't want to be gone like that. I probably didn't price them high enough.
This is the quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Right? And so when we look at any business, there's usually this Pareto principle where 20% of your products are making up 80% of your profit. 80% of your products are making up 20% of your profit. I would challenge people to try and build a flywheel around that top 20%. Okay? And preliminarily, here's what it looks like for me. First of all, find your bottom 20% and cut them out. Right? Yeah. We already know in the bottom 20%, you're going to have
you're spending time that's not giving you enough back.
And you're going to have products that aren't profitable that are in your bottom 20%. Sure. So get rid of those, right? So now you've freed up at least 20%. And then zone in on the top 20% and see what qualities you can find about those ASINs that you might be able to expand upon. Are they coming from a certain supplier? Are they in a certain category? Are there a certain type of product? And I got to tell you, when I was the king of not getting it, when I found I'm not sure if it was the very first one, but was it within the first 2, a light bulb moment happened for me where I was like, oh, wait a second. I think I see what's going on here. It was a very certain type of product, a certain type of ASIN, a certain type of listing not that that's all I sold from then on, but that's what made something click for me when I was like, oh, I see what's going on here. And so it was a winner for me. And then when I started unpacking why it was a winner, some things started to make sense. And this is why I like to say a lot, don't just examine the things that didn't work out to see what lessons you can learn. Examine the things that work out to see what lessons you can learn.
Right. And we always say, take a look at what that looks like and figure out how you can find more of those in Keepa. How do we find that in Keepa?
That's right. One of my favorite things. How do we do that in Keepa? Because here's the thing, like, we're aiming for exponential growth, okay, not incremental growth.
Right.
Especially in these early stages. And this is where the best opportunity to do it. You hear Jim talk about the hockey stick all the time, right?
Yeah.
And you say too. You're kind of cruising along at a fairly, and then all of a sudden you see it go up like this. That's the exponential growth. How do you get the exponential growth versus the slow, incremental growth? And eventually, we're all going to be sort of in this incremental growth, but our goal is to continually strive for improvements. CSI, right?
That's right. CSI.
The continual service improvement.
Yes.
Depending on what methodology
I'm just saying that could mean 1,000 things to 1,000 people.
Crime scene investigators. No, continual service improvement, continuous service improvement is what
right.
Means.
Which means continuous.
Yeah.
Like forever.
Yeah.
This is why we still send 5 tests a week, 5 tests a week.
At least, right?
At least, yeah.
So continual service improvement, or what did I say just a second ago that I thought was pretty good? Continuing, dang it. That was good. I'll have to go back and watch it.
I got distracted by continue CSI, whatever the...
Continual striving for improvement.
That's what it is.
Continuously striving for improvement.
Continuously striving for improvement. Okay, I like it.
You like that? Okay.
I like it.
So the aim for exponential growth, because as the saying goes, I know we said this recently, but it's so important, it's worth repeating. Aim for the moon, land among the stars, right? As opposed to...
I like better.
Go ahead.
Shoot for the moon and hit the side of the barn. Better than shooting for the side of the barn and hitting the mud puddle.
That's right. Yeah. So aim high. Because like the exercise we were going through today, we looked at, we could increase gross profit from 700 to 2,400 just by making a few small tweaks, okay? Because at scale...
Once you have a foundational book of business.
Yeah, at scale, this little tweak that does 3% here, 4% there, blah, 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 makes a huge difference across all of your ASINs. So we're shooting for an improvement to 2,400.
Okay.
So if we only get to 1,700, oh, dang it, we should just quit.
We only had, what, before? 700?
700, right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd be pretty happy with hitting the side of that barn.
Right.
And staying where I am is equivalent to hitting the mud puddle.
That is exponential growth. It's not incremental growth, right?
Right.
So what usually happens when sellers try to grow incrementally instead of exponentially?
They get discouraged. They get frustrated, and they start comparing with other people, and they start saying, well, it doesn't work. You got all those sales, but you didn't make any money.
Well, we see that a lot. Here's my gold bars, but very few people say, here's my green or my black bar at the bottom, which was my net profit, right?
Which I understand.
No problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to
But assume that they have that just like you do.
Yeah.
That struggle is always there.
Well, here's what I think happens with the incremental growth is if you're just taking the incremental growth, we talked about this before, I want to do twice as much, or I want to improve by 20%. That means you're taking everything the same and just adding more effort, adding more time, adding more money, right? And if everything within that same model, you have inefficiencies. So you're going to scale up your inefficiencies too, right? Why do you want to do that? So what I'm talking about is that bottom 20%, that's your inefficient. Get rid of that and then look at how do you make that improvement going forward. So I think that's why a lot of people struggle with the incremental growth, because you're also bringing along the stuff that doesn't work very well. Yeah.
So why is it that people do that? They bring along those small profit ones and it's hard. Why is it so hard to let go?
This is the empty calories that we were talking about before. It
tastes good at the moment.
Dopamine hit. It gives you that I feel good in the moment. But when you get to the end of the month,
you're starving.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Right. So a little bit, it's the discipline of following the plan that we were talking about before. You set out a prescription, a protocol for how you're going to approach this. Follow it. Don't cave.
Okay, Brian, before you go to the next step, I want to make something very, very clear.
Yeah.
Please don't stop posting your gold bars. This is something to celebrate. It absolutely is. We're digging in a little deeper right here, but keep posting those gold bars. I'm still inspired by the progress that people are making. That's a great way to show it. Okay. I had to say it.
Another answer to your question actually leads into the next point here, which is the when you're looking for ASINs in the early days, there's a combination of factors, I think, that limit you to the types of ASINs that you can sell. First of all, Amazon has a very hard limit on the ASINs that you can sell, right?
And with good reason if you think about it.
Oh, yeah. I'm not calling them out. Just like, so you've got a limited playground. The playground is a little bit smaller.
Absolutely.
But also your confidence is not as big. right?
Your experience is
your
not there.
experience is not as big. So you think, well, how am I going to go take down the 1,200-pound beast? Let me get this little weakling over here, right? That is way easier to hunt.
Yes.
Right. And you go and you take it down. And then what happens is there's hardly any meat on those bones. You know, but you can hunt them. Right. So this is the whole, I can go get 10 of the 20%ers.
And we want you to do that in the beginning.
Yes. It's just, there's a skill in the hunt.
Absolutely. There's a skill in the hunt, and you start by taking those small beasts down.
Yeah.
That's part of the game. So don't be confused that you have to go attack an elephant first time out the gate. It's not going to come to you.
But what happens is we get addicted to that. Yeah. I need to take it down. I got to take it down. I got to take it down. And this becomes the thrill of the chase, right? Instead of the kill. And because it was so hard, and we finally figured that part out. Yeah. We don't want to give that up to go try something else that's hard. Right. Like taking down a bigger beast. Taking down a bigger beast. The one that actually does have meat on the bones, right? The one that if you take that one down, you only have to hunt once a month. Yes. As opposed to having to hunt every day or, 3 days a week or whatever it is. We get our well, this is what you talk about. If I work harder, I must be doing a better job. Yes. Yeah. Work harder. Yeah. Not necessarily the case. So that first meaty beast can feel tough because you're going after not the 20%ers. Now you're going after the 40, 50, 60%ers. And it might have been ugly when you took that one down the first couple times. The 20s? Yeah. Oh, the big one? Oh, yeah. Usually that first one that you get that is like, oh, this is a beast right here, right? Yeah. Then it goes away really fast. It doesn't oh, shoot. It doesn't just like show up like the great white buffalo in your dreams, right? Yeah. You do have to go looking for it. You do. And then you have to have more than one, just like you were doing before. You got to have a balance because anything can happen to any ASIN. And then you start realizing, you start finding those all the time, as opposed to the ones that you're replacing those ones that weren't as meaty. The whole green car scenario. Yes. Oh, green cars. I never owned a green car. Now I own a green car, and now I notice every green car. Yes. And same thing with your ASINs. I had never hunted, or I never took down a 50%. Yeah. Now I have a 50%. If I focus on that, I'm going to see a lot more of those. And eventually what happens is the skinny beasts that go by the wayside, you just learn to overlook them and focus in on the ones that are the meat, the ones that are going to feed you for a long time, the ones that are going to really help expand your healthy book of business. Yes, agreed. And sustain it. Help you sustain that book of business. It's also a place where fewer people are looking. Okay, interesting concept here that if you look at what people are trying to achieve when they're building this business, sales. Yes. Right? If you're focusing on... Because that's what you need in the beginning. Profit. I know. But if you got to change your focus, right? Right. At some point. And if you change your focus from the dopamine hits, the empty calories, to the longer term, the profits, the meaty beasts, you're taking a tack that most people are not doing because they get addicted. And they're on the what's that wheel? The treadmill, the hamster wheel, yeah. They're on the hamster wheel of having to do all these things. So just run faster. The competition for the higher, more I would say the higher profit, the meatier deals that are out there actually is less. Absolutely, for several reasons. First of all, in the beginning, you do have to have those sales. That's what you're looking for. You build your business around that and forget that you have to take a next step and level that up at some point. So you're in that habit, and that's what you're doing, and you're looking for the sales so you can get more things opened up to you. Absolutely true. But at a certain point, you have to level up, right? You have to adjust and clean up that little mess that you made. No problem making a mess. Absolutely make a mess. But at some point, you got to start making that more efficient. Well, you change in your approach. Like in the beginning, we're hunting for any ASIN that that we can sell that we're not going to lose money on. Yeah. We just have to be sure that we're making the conscious thought to change our target, right? So we're moving away from the I need the sales and focusing on the I need the profits. Yes. And it's just a change. It's just a little bit of a mind shift that needs to happen there. And what happens is we're in this, I need the sales because I want to get more approvals because I want to sell more things, speed, to, hold on a second. We've got a very prescriptive process we're following here. Let's dig into that.
I just had a client this week that I was coaching with that realized what I was telling him was true. This happens because I say it because I've seen it many times. And then when you see it, that's when it matters, right? So he saw it. He said, just like you said, I never believed I would have more ASINs than money. In the beginning, that's hard to believe.
Yeah.
But he's suddenly at the spot where, I have more money than ASINs. I have to choose now which ASINs I'm going to replenish. I have to pick my best ones because I also have to keep testing so that I can see if they're anything better than that and get more experience. But some of these I can't buy because it's not in my wheelhouse, or I have to go get some more money. But it's interesting when people get to that point. That always happens if you keep doing it long enough. You have more ASINs than money, and it happens a lot sooner than you would think.
It does. If you stay focused, you hone that skill, and you're in that situation very soon. Then you're looking for more money. So I want to get to really the crux of the matter here as we start to wrap this up. Okay. Once you kind of have an idea of how this works, you know how to hunt ASINs, you know how to find the meaty ones even. You've got a system down for how you're going about your sourcing, and you probably are looking to outsource some things and trade some of your profits for time, which is really the goal here, right? Is like get time back in your life. This goal is to sell less and make more, right? So you can balance your maximum profit with sustainable sales volume. You do need things that are sustainable. And the heavy lift is doing this analysis of the ASINs to ensure optimal pricing for maximum profitability. And this is where the trap lies for so many people.
Because we've worked so hard, we want to now take a breath and not work. It feels like there's too much work. But we have to choose where we're going to spend our time now.
And people feel like they don't want to spend their time doing pricing analysis. And so I think a couple of things contribute to this fork in the road of which way you could take your business.
I'll buy that.
And this is a challenge that a lot of sellers face is you could go ahead and go forward with the easy buttons that are out there, right? My repricer is an easy button. Let's be honest. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It saves time.
Yeah.
It's an easy button, but it doesn't allow you, most of them don't allow you the nuance that you often need to be able to price accordingly, right? So that you can maximize your profit while maintaining a certain sales level. And it's maybe it'll get there someday. In my experience, it's not there right now, right? So this leaves a lot of room for us as business owners to really put our skill sets to work here. Because we've got great tools like 3P Mercury that, can hold all of our information. We do have some repricing tools, and we've got inbound transportation tools and all that sort of stuff. But the way you maximize your profit is making sure that you're maintaining your, minimum sales goal there with maximum profit, which is way harder, or I should say way easier said than done. Yeah.
So, but let's look at when that happens, why it feels like we have to get that sale. It's that whole long tail. I source it today, I buy it, I have to wait for a week or so for it to come in, then I have to prep it, ship it into Amazon, that may be another week. Maybe they send it somewhere else, Q4, maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks. It may be 8, 10, 12 weeks before it ever is available within the prime window and I can start my test. Well, then I feel like if I leave it for a week, it's been there a whole week and I haven't made a sale. Yes, it's only a week.
By design.
It's only a week.
Yeah.
We have to adjust the way we're thinking about that and think about what happens during that week. It feels like a long time, but that's not data. That's a feeling. Right.
Well, where I'm going is outside of the testing process.
Yeah.
When you're running your normal course of business, where things aren't as prescriptive.
Okay.
Right. This is the challenge I think that most of us face.
Yes.
Is we're like, and I don't mean to discount the testing protocol at all.
It's okay.
I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
In fact, if we could apply something like that to every phase of the business, we would.
Well, I mean, does it not apply also after you're selling along and you're pricing accordingly? You know you can only get 6 this month, so you price accordingly. So then it's not going to sell 6 in a day.
That's right.
That was by design.
Yes.
Even though we've got our feelings all ready to, where the sales? It's not selling, it's not selling. Right? Same thing?
Yes, absolutely the same thing. This requires more interaction, though, more engagement from you.
Yeah.
And this is where I think that there's an art to what it is that we're doing here to running a highly profitable business. It's an art.
Yes.
And what I'm trying to say,
any business.
What I'm trying to say is people are used to the easy button. I just need a system that works. I just need a system that works. I just need a repricer that sells my stuff and maximizes my profit. I just need a sourcing tool that does blah blah blah. I just need it to work. Right? We hear this. I just need it to work.
Yeah.
Really, there's so much room in there for you to come in and apply your skills, your knowledge, your experience, your creativity to have a successful business. If you think that you're just going to come in here and apply this tool and that tool and the other tool and put it all on autopilot, I think you'd be in for a rude awakening.
I agree. And many people do that, and they are. I see it often. We see it often. But I would challenge you, yes, systems are important, but build into your system that continual striving for improvement. I like that.
Yeah.
Build that in. Just like keep sending tests in, that's built into our system, because I never know when I'm going to find one that's a whole lot better than the worst one I have.
So you have to be willing to put in the work to create an edge for you and your business that most other people aren't going to do. And it's not because of lack of, I'm not saying that there's too much competition out there. I'm just saying, like, you can have a business or you can have an amazing business.
Yeah.
And we would love for everyone to have an amazing business. Yeah. And where there isn't a system that says, if this, then that, else the other thing for every
that
potential scenario that a machine could do, that's where you step in.
Yeah.
And this is where you can leverage the superpowers that you bring with you into this business. This is where you can leverage your experience in the business. There's a lot of different ways to be able to do this.
And I always say this is what makes room for all of us.
That's exactly what I mean. This is why there's room for everybody.
All of us have our own little take and our own little things that we can bring that other people can't. And that's why there's room for all of us. There is so much space out there, and we find our niche and it works and we put in our systems and we build them.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Well, that's where you can actually make a huge difference, I believe, as a business owner, is in that sort of undefined gray area of exactly how things should operate from a pricing and profitability perspective. That's where you can actually get in and make the biggest difference. So find a way to work, to think about things exponentially instead of incrementally, and work on that all the time, right?
Yeah.
And we know that, especially in this business where we have some limitations about how fast we can get that feedback. So we're not able to do an iteration necessarily every month. But as frequently as we can do it, we probably should do it.
Yeah.
Always working to improve our business.
Agreed. So do you have a quote for us today?
I do have a quote for us today.
All right, what is it?
Hopefully it lines up really well. I think it does. Maybe too well. This quote comes to us from John Lasseter. Quality is the best business plan.
Wow, that's simple. Profound, but simple.
Well, this whole thing has been about the quality that you can, like a system, like a whatever your automated system is, probably doesn't care a whole lot about quality. But you do, as the business owner, you do care a lot about quality. And so not only using those tools, how you use those tools, how you implement them in your business and why can help improve your quality.
Yeah, there's a whole lot more to it. Sales are important. Yeah. But there's a whole lot more to it than that.
Yeah. So just a recap of today, my super simple talk track on this is stop chasing the empty calories, right?
Yeah.
And which is the gold bars.
Yeah.
And build around quality or profit, the nutrition that you get instead of the empty calories.
Okay.
All right. So what do you do? when you can't find any meaty beasts.
You gotta go test some more ASINs.
Test some more ASINs. See
Let's
if you
go
can
test-
find some more meaty beasts. All right.
Let's go test some more ASINs.
Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us on today's episode. But before I let you go, once a week or so, I like to bring on my good friend, Mr. Jeff Schick from jeffschick.com, spelled just like the razor. He is our resident favorite Amazon, eBay, and Walmart policy and legal expert. And we haven't really spent much time with him before talking about Walmart, but they're starting to see some more action in that department among the client base. And I just wanted to hear what's on his mind in regards to a Walmart. What are you seeing these days, Jeff?
Yeah, so what we're really seeing with Walmart is a maturity of the marketplace. So, back in, a couple of years ago, Walmart was kind of like no one cared about, and it was, the Wild West. And then even up until like last year, still, it's kind of the Wild West. They didn't have much enforcement of policies, or it was sporadic enforcement. But this year, we've actually seen quite a shift. And so we're starting to see seller account suspensions. We've also seen terminations as well on Walmart now. And Walmart's a bit interesting because they actually, suspension means you can submit an appeal, and a termination letter will actually say in there, no appeals will be accepted. Now, on the bright side, Amazon terminations, they've been trying to do this tactic of withholding funds and inventory. Luckily on Walmart, they don't lock your Walmart fulfillment services inventory, and they do release your balance after 180 days. So that has been a positive for sellers' rights on the platform. But yeah, they are maturing. They're definitely more concerned, about what they're asking. So if they ask questions, they expect truthful and complete answers. And so one of my favorite quotes from when I went to Penn for law school that they had, engraved on Ben Franklin walk was obviously by Ben Franklin. And it was that half a truth is still a great lie. And that is true on the e-commerce platforms.
Yeah. Don't be deceptive. If you don't know how to answer a question, don't just wing it.
Right.
And you have someone like Jeff and his team in your corner, which is what we do. We don't have to worry about guessing. You've seen this stuff before for just a few dollars per month, man. You guys have helped us out countless times.
Right.
That's just our account, let alone all the people in our community. Yeah. So Walmart's getting more serious. It's not as much Wild West as it used to be in regards to how they handle sellers. And it's time to have some advocates on your side so that you stay in the lanes. Anything specific that rises like universal concern with with Walmart that needs to be on our radar? Anything else come to mind?
Well, there's two things. One of them is from our perspective, we do cover Walmart, but only on certain plans. So, the way our tiered structure works is that we've got, our base tier, which is a couple dollars a day, and that covers one marketplace. That's either Amazon US or Walmart US. And then we've got our mid and high tiers, which cover both Walmart and Amazon. So, I encourage sellers, if you're, one of our, on our base plan, and you want to make sure your Walmart account is covered in addition to your Amazon account, just reach out to our team because we can take care of that upgrade for you in about 5 minutes. So it's not a
and it's not a big deal. Expensive upgrade either.
No, it's $50 a month. So it's $50 a month to add an extra platform on. And just to put in perspective, we had a seller recently get suspended who was on our $99 plan that didn't have Walmart coverage, and unfortunately, the Walmart suspension still cost them $2,700 because they weren't covered since they didn't have coverage. So, we're trying to make sure people understand that, if you have multiple marketplaces you sell on, make sure you let us know so we can cover you. But yeah, the big, on the other side, the non-self-interested takeaways, thinking about it from Walmart, when they ask questions, make sure that you answer them completely. When it comes to policies, don't look for creative solutions. For instance, if you accidentally sell products, maybe you put them in a bunch, like you have an API issue that it uploads, 50 units of a Nike t-shirt that you actually don't have in stock. Don't go in and try to get creative and find creative ways around messing up your ODR. I always tell people it's way better to just get suspended on Walmart for doing something wrong than to get suspended for committing fraud because you tried to cover up what you did wrong. Because Walmart is extremely forgiving for mistakes if you don't commit fraud. But as soon as you cross that line of deceptive behavior, just like Amazon, once you cross that deceptive behavior line, they don't care to see you come back, and they won't have you come back necessarily.
Right, right. So balance before you check any boxes or agree to anything or sign anything that looks like legal or policy, just
Yeah.
send it to Jeff and his team for just a
Right.
few dollars per month. That's what I'm hearing. That's what we do. And I just appreciate your services so much, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and the other big one too, Walmart IP complaints
Oh
definitely
yeah.
require
They're
legal
starting
help.
to do those too, aren't they?
They do. They have so brand registry is what Amazon has for reporting IP complaints to the platform. On Walmart, it's called Brand Center. And again, everything on Walmart's very similar. And so, yeah, if you get a Brand Center complaint, one of the things that Walmart will require when you try to submit an appeal is that you submit an indemnification to them. Now, that indemnification is built into the business solutions agreement on Amazon and Walmart. So you've already agreed to it either way for both marketplaces. But the problem with the IP complaint indemnification is that they're putting it front and center, making you actually agree and acknowledge to it. And so we have seen cases where sellers submit an appeal for an IP complaint they received, thinking that they're just going to treat it like an Amazon case. They submit questionable documentation, and then as part of the indemnification that they agreed to, Walmart goes and hires an attorney and looks at it. And then that attorney says, no, you're wrong. And here's our bill for $500 because we spent an hour looking at this. And guess what? You've now agreed to indemnify Walmart because in addition to indemnifying them against their direct losses, you also agreed to indemnify against attorney's fees and costs incurred. And so now you're stuck with not only getting an appeal not accepted, but getting a bill for the lawyer who looked at it and rejected it.
Wow. Yeah, save a lot of money just by putting you guys on retainer and avoiding that to begin with.
Exactly.
That's my plan. Yeah, and that's why I have you on here once a week, Jeff. It's just because these things can get relatively complex relatively quickly. For the vast majority of us, the vast majority of the time, it's smooth sailing. But when these weird things happen, man, it's such a good feeling to have someone on retainer that just jumps in and knows how these things work. And that's what you guys do all day, every day for so many of us in this community. So I really appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you.
You got it. Hey, we're happy to be able to serve.
Absolutely. So, well, hey, I'd love to have you back next week if you're around, man. Always appreciate some time with you, getting some tips and insights.
Sounds like a plan. We'll be
all right,
back.
jeffschick.com. Put them on retainer. So many of us have. They're a great sponsor of this show, but they serve this community with excellence for many, many years. And get over to the website for a few dollars per month. You can have them on retainer. All things Amazon, eBay, and yes, Walmart policy and legal. All right. We'll see you next week, Jeff. Thanks, buddy.
See you next week. Thank you.
Bye for now.